to respect people who turned the lights on for you.
Mase taught me how to rap, and Cam always made sure I was on every single album he had. There would be no Jim Jones if it wasn't for them guys.
1 hour later.
And it's good to hear you give Mase his flowers.
I ain't giving no flowers. I love to hate, because I'm a hater myself.
Pusha T should be on the greatest 50 rappers of all time list?
Ow! What has he done? What has he done that puts him in the greatest rappers of all time besides talk about that he probably didn't?
This is exactly why Jim Jones is spiraling out again, straight crashing out in front of everybody. Pusha T locked eyes with the camera like he was staring right into Jim's soul, cutting deep with every word. He called out how Jim's been running from the spirit of repossession ever since the bank snatched his home back. Man, that's cold-blooded humiliation, but it didn't end there. Oh no, it got even messier. Mase pulled up like it was a whole show, sitting back with popcorn in hand, just soaking up the drama. And let's not forget how shady that move was. Like he came just to enjoy Jim's downfall in real time. The whole scene felt like a setup straight out of a hood soap opera, and the disrespect off the charts. But here's the wildest twist. After all that embarrassment, Jim still refuses to take the L. Instead of letting it go and moving on, he doubled down. He already fired back at Pusha's diss with a freestyle, trying to keep his pride intact. And now he's on Instagram throwing even more shade, tossing subliminals at both Pusha T and Mase like he's really untouchable. But you know Mase and Cameron, they're not letting that slide. They're clowning him, making sure Jim knows his place in this whole rap food chain.
He was your man, like on the side, like on the side, just he was not a rapper at all.
Right.
So when Ballin' took place, and I'm looking and I'm going, oh, he having a moment. That's the Lloyd Banks. It's Lloyd Banks thing. He wanted that. He was watching them be that, like Mase be that, and Cam be that, and looked at, and it was finally he had one.
Mm-hmm.
And I just looked, and I knew I just took the shot, Murder, to see, because I wasn't sure he was gonna go for it.
It's like every move Jim makes just drags him deeper into the chaos, and the whole industry's watching like it's the hottest street drama of the year. First things first, we have to talk about how Pusha T absolutely shredded Jim Jones with that insane Tiny Desk performance. Pusha and Malice came through like lyrical assassins, delivering an epic, razor-sharp set to hype up their comeback album, Let God Sort 'Em Out. And the moment that really shook the room, their performance of Chains and Whips, a fresh collab with Kendrick Lamar that straight up dragged Jim through the dirt. They didn't just diss him, they violated him with precision, bar for bar. If you actually sat and watched both the Tiny Desk clip and their genius lyric breakdown, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Pusha didn't flinch, didn't hesitate, didn't even blink when spitting those brutal lines. He didn't care about the cameras, the crowd, or the industry politics. He was zeroed in on Jim, staring blankly like a man possessed, with that cold, twisted grin that said, I mean every single word. It was icy, calculated, and ruthless. And the way Pusha dismantled Jim, that was precision-level rap warfare.
He was your man, like on the side, like on the side, just he was not a rapper at all.
Right.
So when Ballin' took place, and I'm looking and I'm going, oh, he having a moment. That's the Lloyd Banks. It's Lloyd Banks thing. He wanted that. He was watching them be that, like Mase be that, and Cam be that, and looked at, and it was finally he had one.
Mm-hmm.
And I just looked, and I knew I just took the shot, Murder, to see, because I wasn't sure he was gonna go for it.
Like a surgeon with a mic, he didn't just slap Jim around, he schooled him in front of the whole culture. But here's the thing, Jim has nobody to blame but himself. He's the one who opened this door, poking at Pusha for no real reason, except to ride for Drake like a loyal soldier. But loyalty don't save you in rap beefs, and now he's paying the price. Oh, and let's break down that brutal bar on Chains and Whips. When Pusha spit, we all in the room, but here's the elephant. You chasing a feature out of your element, he was taking a direct shot at Jim Jones. He was exposing how Jim's been out here practically begging Drake for a feature, switching up his whole energy just to get that cosign. Jim even went so far as to crown Drake the greatest rapper of all time, completely out of pocket just to stay in Drake's good graces. Jim basically turned into Drake's personal attack dog overnight. He started throwing shade at Pusha nonstop, all because Billboard dared to rank Pusha T at number 29 on their list of the top 50 greatest rappers of all time.
But I was like, we like Jimmy better than you anyway, Cam. You gotta watch to see how he responds. And then when you see, he like, oh shit, he really like that. Give me that, get me Jimmy. Yeah, tell him we want you at the show, Jimmy. Yo, but that was one of those things, I just threw it out. Yes.
That list must have really bruised Jim's ego, because the very next thing you know, he's on The Breakfast Club saying Pusha doesn't even deserve to be in the top 50. He didn't stop there either. He doubled down on the Rap Caviar podcast, claiming Pusha hasn't done anything significant for the culture. Wild, right? But here's the thing. Chains and whips clearly struck a nerve. Those bars cut straight to the bone, and Jim couldn't stay quiet. He fired back with a freestyle, trying to save face. But here's the twist. This freestyle ain't even new. He actually recorded it 2 years ago when the original track first dropped, and he just pulled it out the vault like it's fresh heat.
You run from the spirit of repossession. Too much enamel covers your necklace. I buy bitches, you buy them sections. You buy watches, I buy collect.
It's like he's scrambling for ammo while Pusha's already 5 steps ahead. Now, if you're wondering how Jim even got his hands on the Chains and Whips beat 2 whole years before the song officially dropped, here's the backstory. Part of the track leaked after Clips used it for a Louis Vuitton runway show, strutting down the catwalk to that unreleased heat. Jim must have caught wind of the leak, snatched the beat, and rushed out a freestyle the very next day, like he was desperate to jump ahead of whatever storm was coming. But here's the thing. Even after all this time, Jim still refuses to back down. After that Clips Tiny Desk performance went viral and had the internet in a frenzy, Jim decided to throw fresh shade at Pusha on Instagram. He posted a clip of that same old freestyle from 2 years ago and captioned it,
Oh man. Okay. It's just
It's what they want.
I thought we addressed this already. He gonna need a bigger desk because that one was too tiny. Then he added another slick jab. This is surgical. I'm not a storyteller, I'm a life liver. And your brother, still a friend to me, LOL. He really thought he was hitting with that one. But the comments, man, his own followers were roasting him alive. They weren't buying it at all. One person wrote, "You got triggered and smoked so bad you re-uploaded a diss from last year." Another said, "You can't go toe-to-toe with Pusha. Stop embarrassing yourself." It's like the internet collectively told Jim to sit this one out because he's just digging a deeper hole with every move. One fan even jumped in the comments and said, "No names, and you claiming enamel on your necklaces." Another piled on with, "Jealousy turns into obsession. Give it up, man, you reaching." But it's not just random folks on the internet clowning Jim. Oh no, it gets even worse. Mase and Cameron have been chiming in too, and if you know their messy history with Jim, then you already know they're loving every second of his downfall. And let's be real, Mase laughing this hard isn't just about the music. It's because this drama runs deep.
Man, you begged us. You are a fan. A fan.
Pause though, get off my...
See, Mase, Cam, and Jim all came up together in Harlem, or at least that's how Jim tells it. Cam, on the other hand, has his own version of the story, and it's not nearly as friendly as Jim makes it sound. Back in the mid-90s, the three were rolling in the same early rap crew called Children of the Corn. It was supposed to be a brotherhood, a movement. But then the game changed. Mase was the first to blow up. He signed with Bad Boy Records and turned into a superstar almost overnight. That's when, according to Jim, everything shifted. He claimed Mase started moving different, acting brand new and creating distance from the same people who helped him climb. Jim even said Mase's whole attitude flipped, especially toward Cameron, leaving everyone in Harlem feeling some type of way. This tension didn't just vanish, it lingered for years.
Since I hum a breath of it, I will close your heaven for the hell of it. It seems to be valor amongst veterans. I'm watching your fame escape relevance. We all in a room, but here's the elephant. There's no tombstones in the desert. I know by now you get the message. Uncle said, nigga, you must be sick. All you talk about is just get rich. Choke my neck, nigga, and ice my bitch. Beat the system with chains.
And during his sit down on Justin Layboy's show, Jim made it clear he never forgot how Mase allegedly switched up. So now, seeing Jim take L's in public, Mase and Cam are laughing like this is sweet revenge from decades ago. Back in January, Jim spoke on it respectfully, but you could still hear the bitterness in his voice. He claimed he personally watched Mase talk slick about Cameron after he blew up and got famous. And according to Jim, that was the exact moment he lost all respect for Mase. See, back when Mase was becoming a mainstream figure under Diddy's bad boy empire, Cam was still grinding in the trenches, hustling for his shot. When Cam finally got his break, he didn't leave his people behind. He brought Jim with him. Together they built what we all know today as the Diplomats, aka Dipset. They created a Harlem legacy while Mase was on a whole different path. Meanwhile, Mase bounced out of the rap game completely after all that drama with Diddy. He reinvented himself as a pastor, disappeared for years, then tried to slide back into the music scene when it was convenient.
You don't think Pusha T should be on the greatest 50 rappers of all time list?
How? What has he done? What has he done that puts him in the greatest rappers of all time besides talk about that he probably didn't? What has he done? Nobody has dressed like him. Nobody wants to be like Pusha T. No, I don't remember nothing. And let's not be evil, but we don't talk about rap where that's popping the wanna be like. I don't know too many in this game that was leaning towards being like Pusha T.
But Jim didn't buy any of it. To him, Mase looked like he was flip-flopping. 1 minute preaching about God, the next chasing the spotlight again. Jim saw it as fake, opportunistic, and disloyal. Now, Mase and Cam definitely had beef back in the day. But in 2022, they shocked everybody by squashing it and even teaming up to launch their sports podcast, It Is What It Is. And that reunion, it hit a nerve with Jim. He couldn't stand seeing Mase and Cam cool again after all those years of bad blood. So what did Jim do? He started firing cheap shots from the sidelines. Just recently, he went off on Mase yet again, this time mocking his looks and clowning him about his weight, saying he needs to go on a diet. But you already know, Mase and Cameron weren't about to stay quiet for long. Nope, they decided to crank the petty meter all the way up. How? By bringing none other than Jim's longtime nemesis, 50 Cent, onto their podcast. That was a calculated move, pure disrespect served with a smile. At one point during the convo, Cam set the trap perfectly.
No records they play in the club or Pusha T. They don't play outside. NBA Youngboy before Pusha T.
That's wild, Jim. That's
NBA Youngboy before Pusha
crazy.
T?
That's crazy. What do you...
What?
Nah, Jim just trying to get everybody mad.
Pusha T around out here. You heard?
Jim trying to get everybody mad. That Jim's look at him. Look at him laughing.
That's what I'm trying. That's how I feel about Pusha T being on top.
He casually asked Mase to break down why, back in 2007, when Dipset was in the middle of a heated beef with G-Unit, Jim randomly showed up at one of 50's shows. Cam wasn't asking out of curiosity. He knew exactly what he was doing. It was like tossing an alley-oop straight to 50, just waiting for him to dunk all over Jim in front of a live audience. And of course, that's exactly what happened. 50 took the shot with no hesitation, clowning Jim with that classic 50 Cent smirk. The whole moment was dripping with shade, and you could almost feel the internet catching fire the second it dropped, and like clockwork, Jim took the bait. He couldn't resist. He went off during his sit-down with Justin Layboy, blasting both Cam and 50 for even bringing up his name. He claimed they owe him more than a few favors and shouldn't be out here tarnishing his name for cheap laughs.
You was so cool. And we was like, yo, Jomo's a nice guy. Mace like, yo, I think I'll teach him how to rap. Mace actually taught you how to rap. Literally. He taught you how to rap. You'll say it. Matter of fact, bring up the clip.
Mace helped me learn how to rap.
But Jim didn't stop there. He really turned up. He started taking full credit for the entire Dipset aesthetic, saying he was the real architect behind the movement. He even claimed he was the one who inspired Cam's whole iconic look. Yes, even that legendary pink fur coat that became a cultural moment. According to Jim, none of that would have existed without him. But it didn't stop there. After Jim tried to rewrite history and claim he birthed the entire Dipset wave, the internet went crazy. Fans started digging up old footage, old interviews, and receipts that told a completely different story.
Mase taught me how to rap. Mase actually showed me, he was the first person to show me how to rap. Mase actually sat me down and showed me the magic to rap.
We taught you how to rap. How you ran the whole organization. How you made Diplomat. You ain't make none of this stuff. You was a fan. I put you down.
Clips of Cameron rocking the pink mink and pulling up in the pink Range Rover back in the early 2000s went viral again, with people saying this was Cam's vision from the jump. Jim wasn't the mastermind. Meanwhile, Mase and Cam just kept the trolling going. On the very next episode of their podcast, they didn't even mention Jim directly. They just sat there laughing, tossing little inside jokes that everyone knew were about him. Cam even slipped in a slick line saying, "Some people forget who really put the blueprint down. We don't need to argue with history." That one hit like a jab, straight to the ribs. And just when you thought the chaos might settle down, 50 Cent jumped back in the mix on Instagram. He reposted a meme of Jim in the pink fur coat, captioned, "Wait, who started what now? LOL."
How you doing, man? Yes, play too much, man. Oh, what's happening?
That single post reignited the whole debate online, with comment sections turning into full-on war zones. Jim, of course, couldn't stay quiet. He fired back on his IG Live, saying everybody's selective memory was wild and that people are only backing Cam because they're scared to admit the truth. He doubled down on his claim, saying he personally gave Dipset its style, its sound, and its swagger. Without him, there's no movement. But the more Jim spoke, the more people started clowning him. One fan commented, "Bro, you're arguing with ghosts of the past while they're out here laughing and collecting podcast checks." It was clear. Jim was getting more emotional by the day while the others were just playing chess, not checkers. And you know Cam wasn't about to let that slide. On the very next podcast episode, he came for Jim with surgical precision, no hesitation. Cam straight up dissected Jim's entire Dipset origin story, piece by piece, exposing the cracks in everything Jim's been claiming. He called him out for lying about his Harlem roots.
Diet. Mase need to go on a diet. He need to get his life together. He need to go to the doctor and get a physical. He looked terrible, bad body, back. Nigga look big around the neck, waist look crazy. I'm body shaming this. You heard? He need to go get his shit together, get on the treadmill, do some push-ups, do something. You heard? Especially for playing with me. He gonna
making it crystal clear that Jim wasn't some day one rider who was there from the very beginning. According to Cam, they were never in the trenches together, like Jim likes to make it sound. Cam said flat out that Jim was a late addition. He wasn't part of the original foundation. He wasn't there during the grind that built the core of what would become Dipset. In Cam's words, by the time Jim popped up, the movement already had a name, already had momentum. Jim was just tagging along. And Cam definitely wasn't having it when Jim tried to claim he saw Mase son him back in the bad boy days. Cam shut that narrative down quick, saying Jim wasn't even around when all that was going down.
Oh, man, this is crazy, man. All right. Oh, man. Okay.
It's what they want.
By the time Jim was on the scene, Children of the Corn had already made their mark in Harlem. Jim, according to Cam, he was just another fan watching from the sidelines. But Cam didn't stop there. He twisted the knife even deeper. He reminded everybody that it was actually Mase who taught Jim how to rap. Then he pulled out the receipts, old footage, and interviews where Jim himself admitted that Mase helped him sharpen his skills. The internet went wild, seeing Jim's own words come back to haunt him. Cam made it clear. Jim might have been part of the Dipset legacy, but he was never the architect he claims to be. But honestly, the best part of this entire messy episode wasn't even the bars or the back and forth. It was those random camera cuts to Mase sitting there with a giant bucket of popcorn, laughing so hard he nearly choked. The man didn't even have to speak. His laughter alone was enough to make the moment legendary. And that's what made it sting even more for Jim.
Yo, you know my grandmother died. If y'all wanna come by and just hang out, y'all could. Y'all more than welcome. You like, all right, Jomo, thanks. It didn't really make sense at the time because we like, yo, man, where's Jomo inviting us to his house for? Even though he cool. But it didn't make sense to be going to Jomo's house. I never needed nowhere to stay. You act like
Get off my
couch. You was a fan. You begged us. You are a fan.
Come on.
A fan. We didn't grow up with you. I am from 140th and Lennon.
Mase didn't have to throw a single bar or insult. He just sat there, silent but cracking up, letting his reactions do all the talking. And somehow, that was enough to push Jim right over the edge. Jim ended up responding, saying he'd slapped the popcorn straight out of Mase's hands. The petty level, off the charts. But here's where it gets even crazier. Jim isn't backing down, not at all. He's now linking up with none other than Drake for his upcoming album, Iceman. And word on the street is he's lining up shots for everybody who's crossed him. Pusha, Mase, Cam, nobody's safe. There's even one track in particular that insiders say could completely flip the narrative and shake this whole situation up. So what's next? Will Jim finally get his redemption, or is this just another L waiting to happen? Either way, the Harlem drama is far from over, and you already know the streets are watching. If you're feeling the heat from this saga, like, share, and subscribe to keep up with the latest twists. And don't miss what's coming next, because you never know what's about to pop off in our hood.